Hey guys, Sparker929 here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over my top 10 most anticipated games of 2025. So far, 2025 looks to be one of the most action-packed years for the video game industry and video game releases overall. We've got jaw-dropping visuals, rich immersive storytelling, and a bunch of innovative mechanics that seem to be redefining how we play video games. Redefinition seems to be, the name of the game for 2025. Whether it's AAA blockbuster or hidden indie gems, these are the top 10 games I look forward to most in 2025. Honorable mentions goes out to Civilization 7, Anno 117, and Little Nightmares 3, all of which are sequels that sort of expand on the established formula while providing much the same, which, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Their prequels, Anno 1800, Civilization 6, and Little Nightmares 2, are all really excellent games in my opinion. However, I don't believe these three will do anything spectacular outside of the established formula. Anno 117 and Little Nightmares 3 have no solid release date other than sometime in 2025, while Civilization 7 is scheduled for release on February 11th of 2025. All three games will launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC.
By order of the Emperor, my fellow Romans, I bring forth tidings of hope across our glorious lands. For
Mafia: The Old Country is the fourth installment in the popular Mafia series developed by Hangar 13 Studios. Unlike the previous three games, all of which were set in fictional adaptations of American cities such as New York or New Orleans, Mafia: The Old Country sets players in a 1900s Sicily, while you'll be exploring the original origins of the Mafia. Not much is known so far of the overarching plot of Mafia: The Old Country, but based on what's shown in the initiation trailer, it's safe to assume you'll be delving into and influencing the start of the Mafia, a concept which, so far, I believe is incredibly cool. While I am extremely excited about this concept and the new Mafia's release, I only hope The Old Country can do enough to sweeten the sour taste that was left by the overall poor experience that was Mafia 3. Mafia: The Old Country is set to release at some point in 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood. This is a family. And in this family, we follow a code of honor. It is not forgiving. To betray one is to betray all. Do you wish to commit yourself, your life, to this family?
Coming in at number 9, Subnautica 2 finds itself much lower on this list than I originally anticipated during its announcement all the way back in April of 2022. As of now, not much is really known about Subnautica besides what was shown in the 2024 teaser trailer. However, fans can expect, much of what made Subnautica 1 and Subnautica Below Zero famous, with incorporated multiplayer elements, which is kind of controversial apparently. Also included will probably be major mechanics such as base building and exploration. We do know, however, that Subnautica 2 will take place on a different planet than the previous two games, with a few new species of animals highlighted during the initial cinematic trailer. Subnautica 2 is clearly suffering on my list from the overall success of the first game, which in my opinion will be hard to top without significant and maybe controversial changes to the Subnautica core gameplay loop. Subnautica 2 is set to release at some point in 2025 for Xbox Series X and S and PC. All right, this next game being this low on my list might stir up some controversy in the gaming world, but coming in at number 8 is Fable 4. First announced at the 2020 Xbox Showcase, Fable 4 is an action role-playing game developed by Playground Games and unfortunately exclusive to Xbox. For those unfamiliar with the Fable series, because I was to begin with, it is a older yet wildly popular fantasy RPG set in the fictional land of Albion. Fable is known for its rich storytelling and player-driven narrative, where your actions have a tangible impact on the world around you. While considered by some to be one of the most anticipated games of the year, Fable 4 finds itself this low on my list as the last release in its series occurred in 2010, developed by a completely different production team, so a decade plus 4 years since the last game. Lionhead Studios produced Fable 3, and hopefully Playground Games can accurately capture the narrative storytelling and rich fantasy world building that made the first 3 games popular, while adapting the original formula for the modern day. If Fable 4 is able to capture what made the series special, don't be surprised if you find Fable 4 up for nomination for 2025 Game of the Year. And I quote me on that. Fable 4 is set to release on Xbox Series X and S and PC sometime in June 2025.
I mean, sure, you get your mega fans,
You are like literally my favourite person.
your haters,
It's like a fan club, but we hate you.
your chancers, and the occasional giant toad, for some reason. But it's more than that. It's about the choices you make.
I'm a hero. I should do what I want.
We thought you could save her.
You know, it's your life and death stuff. That's what defines you, doesn't it? Really, stays with you.
So coming in at number 7, which is going to be a very short one, is one of my personal favorites, Outer Worlds 2. Outer Worlds 2 is the follow-up to the moderately popular 2019 sci-fi action RPG Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds 2 will feature a new star system to explore with fresh new companions, new abilities, and space environments, as well as a larger overall scale compared to the first game, with its 7 major planets. My main concern for Outer Worlds 2 is its lack of development time, as Obsidian has been working on a fantasy RPG for the last few years that is also surprisingly set to release in 2025, named Avowed, which could negatively impact both the quality and size of Outer Worlds 2. And that's about all that's known about Outer Worlds 2. There's not much. That's it. Outer Worlds is scheduled for release for Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC, sometime in 2025.
From the studio that brought you Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Part 2. Neverwinter Nights, Part 2. And Fallout 3, Part 2. New Vegas. Comes a completely original Part 2. And like all good sequels, we've included everything that should have been in the first game. More action. More weapons. And more graphics.
Rounding out the first half of our list, at number 6, we have a game I've really been looking forward to since its first announcement in 2022. That is Assassin's Creed Shadows. Shadows is the newest installment in Ubisoft's action-adventure game series inspired by mid-century assassins. Shadows is the first game in the series, however, to be set in Japan. More specifically, the game set during the Sengoku period of 1579, placing it just after the events of the previous game Mirage, but just before Assassin's Creed 3. In this game, players will explore vast open-world environments with puzzle-like and exploration challenges, while following the story of Yuzaki, the first black samurai, and Naoi, a fictional shinobi. Each character will offer a differing play technique, with Yuzaki focusing on brute force and thriving on direct combat, while Naoi will offer players stealthier options, which gives you kind of that yin and yang. Shadows will also reportedly feature dynamic seasons and a greater balance between the newer RPG mechanics and emphasis on stealth seen in older games. Shadows' release date is not yet concrete, as Ubisoft has entered into buyout talks with Chinese developer Tencent Games. These discussions are ongoing, and no definitive agreement has been reached. Consequently, it's uncertain how this potential buyout might impact the development or release of Assassin's Creed Shadows. The game has already experienced a delay with a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as a PC release date of February 2025.
Who are you? Who do you serve?
All I have ever known in my life. Our land. Our customs. My family. Burns in the name of unification.
You are still a frog in a well who knows nothing of the sea.
So, rounding out the top 5 of our list, coming in at number 5, we have the newly announced IP from co-op developers Hazelight Studios. It is titled Split Fiction. Hazelight, of course, is known for their hugely popular co-op games like A Way Out and Brothers, as well as their 2021 Game of the Year winning It Takes Two. Fantastic game, in my opinion. Likewise, Split Fiction is an upcoming cooperative action-adventure game. The narrative centers on two rival authors, Mia and Zoe, who become trapped in a simulation blending their respective sci-fi and fantasy worlds that they write together. Players must collaborate to navigate, diverse environments, solve, unique puzzles, and overcome a bunch of challenges to escape the simulation. Gameplay features also a diverse set of mechanics, including platforming, combat, as well as tailored abilities for each player depending on the level type. So one level you might have double jump, one level you might have some sort of different ability similar to It Takes Two. Hazelight has also shown their dedication to the players with a Friends Pass being available upon purchase and copy, which allows you to play online co-op without the need for your friend to buy an additional copy. So I buy one copy, we both play. Fantastic for the video game overall, and the entire industry needs to copy what Hazelight is doing here, in my opinion. Developed using Unreal Engine 5, Split Fiction is scheduled for release for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC on March 6th of 2025.
Okay, you better get ready, because I'm about to show you Hazelight's next co-op adventure called Split Fiction. Now, let me tell you this, get ready for a ride. You play as Mio and Zoe, two aspiring writers that hope to get published by a new tech company that can simulate their stories to life.
I can't do this.
Please, calm down.
It's
time. You can't shut it. No!
Accidentally, they end up in the same simulation.
What are you doing in my story? Something bad is going on here.
And there, they find out that their stories are about to get stolen.
No one escapes my simulation.
And in order to save them, they have to escape back to reality through the very worlds that they created.
Hands above your heads.
But the thing is, they're strangers, and Miu writes sci-fi, while Zoe writes fantasy. So you will, for every level in the game, jump between a sci-fi world and a fantasy world.
So, coming in at number 4, I have the hotly anticipated Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, developed by Warhorse Studios. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the direct sequel to 2018's RPG Kingdom Come Deliverance. Both games are set in 15th century Bohemia, with a huge emphasis placed upon player freedom and natural discovery. This creates kind of an interesting dynamic where players must actively engage and listen to both quest directions, as well as like audible hints and clues from townsfolk, or, folk tales to complete and find quest locations and objectives. It creates, a more immersive experience than just giving a marker and you run straight to the marker. The game continues the journey of Henry, a blacksmith's son, amid the turmoil of a civil war. Players can expect an expansive open world, approximately twice the size of the original, featuring diverse regions such as the Bohemian Paradise and the city of Kutana Hora, Players can also expect the sequel to build upon the strengths of the original through introduction of new weapon and traversal types, while ensuring the experience is more approachable than the first game. The game is expected to offer a substantial playtime, as per usual, with estimates ranging from 80 to 100 hours, excluding, additional downloadable content like mods or DLC. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is scheduled for release for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC on February 4th of 2025, and I cannot wait.
Is that what you really want, son? No matter how many people you kill, you can't change what's happened.
Dentes Fortuna Juvat!
What does that actually mean?
Fortune favors the brave.
All we have to do is deliver a letter to Lord Otto von Bergov and ride back again. So I wouldn't expect much excitement there. Hans, look at me!
Henry! For the love of God!
My boy, war is a nasty business. And it is better to have your head on your neck and your foe on his knees than the other way around.
All right, so starting on my top 3 is the highly anticipated fantasy RPG Avowed. Avowed is an upcoming first-person fantasy action RPG developed by Obsidian Entertainment, set in the world of Eora, known from the Pillars of Eternity series. More specifically, Avowed is set in the living lands of Eora, where players will take on the role of an envoy sent by the Aedra Empire to investigate a mysterious plague known as the Dream Scourge. The game emphasizes player choice, with a narrative influenced by decisions made throughout the journey, similar to Obsidian's previous games, such as, Fallout New Vegas or Pillars of Eternity Deadfire. Gameplay features a classless system, which is new, allowing players to dual-wield a variety of weapons and utilize a dynamic skill tree. Combat includes melee, stealth, and spellcasting, offering a plethora of playstyles that will sort of mesh pretty effortlessly with the complex moral choices player will be tasked with deciding. The game supports both first-person and third-person perspectives, catering to different player preferences. To me, Avowed gains the ability to stand out from typical fantasy RPGs through the continued use of complex moral challenges and those moral gray areas, as well as the deep storytelling seen in the previous iterations of the Pillars franchise. If Obsidian is able to draw from the same magic that made the Pillars franchise such a standout, I really see no reason why Avowed couldn't find itself in contention for 2025's Game of the Year. Avowed is set to release for Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC, on February 18th of 2025.
People don't like you very much, do they? Sent here to the living lands by an emperor who couldn't bother to come himself. To investigate some plague that seems to be corrupting our very souls.
Coming in at number 2 is the highly anticipated Witcher 4. Witcher 4 is the 4th installment in CD Projekt Red's acclaimed action RPG series, The Witcher. It's officially announced to feature Ciri, the adopted daughter of Geralt of Rivia from the previous game, as the main protagonist. While featured not that long ago at the 2024 Game Awards, not much is known about the main narrative of The Witcher 4. However, most can speculate players will be facing new monster adversaries, as well as delving deeper into Sorella's complex backstory to better understand what makes her special. Developed using Unreal Engine 5, being one of the first games to do so, The Witcher 4 aims to deliver an immersive open-world experience with enhanced graphics and mechanics. Players can expect a map size comparable to The Witcher 3, featuring new regions to explore, as well as, diverse environments. The game is also expected to introduce new gameplay features, potentially and hopefully including improved mount mechanics, as well as underwater combat, as well as, a dynamic player customization for weapons and armor, which is new to the series. Witcher 3, as most are familiar with, is one of the most popular RPG games of all time, currently sitting at 50 million copies sold. It's safe to say if Witcher 4 can expand on the combat and rich storytelling that made its predecessor such a hit, while developing an interesting overall story for Ciri as a protagonist, I don't see any reason why Witcher 4 couldn't meet or surpass, the 50 million mark in due time. While a specific release date has not been confirmed, speculation from sources close to the project, as well as a leaked game listing from GOG.com, places the release at some point during 2025. However, don't be surprised if the date range changes upon official announcement, as one has not occurred yet. No matter the date, Witcher 4 is set to release on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC. So, finally coming in at the top of my list as the most anticipated game of 2025, and maybe even of all time, is as to be expected, Grand Theft Auto 6. If you have been living under a relative video game rock for the past decade, Grand Theft Auto 6 is the highly anticipated adventure game series' next installment. The game is set in the fictional state of Leonida, which is play on words for Florida, which includes a modern reimaging of Vice City inspired by Miami. The map is reported to be nearly double the size of GTA 5, huge, encompassing urban, rural, and coastal areas to provide a diverse gameplay experience. GTA 6 is expected to feature multiple protagonists, continuing the narrative style of its predecessor, while specific details about the characters and storyline may remain under wraps for a while. The game is anticipated to deliver a compelling narrative with complex characters and intertwining story arcs. The production cost of GTA 6 is estimated between $1 and $2 billion, with a B, not million, billion, potentially making it the most expensive video game ever produced. Analysts project the game could become the highest grossing video game ever, with expected sales of 45 million units in the first day. Staggering numbers there. GTA 6 will undoubtedly be the biggest release 2025, with expanded map size as well as improved graphics and solo gameplay. The sky's the limit on what GTA 6 can achieve. I only hope Rockstar Games can feed off the huge expectations and deliver a product worthy of more than a decade's wait. Hopefully we'll be playing GTA 6 for a decade as well. GTA 6 is set to release sometime in 2025 on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Unfortunately, however, PC players will be left out for at least a year, by most reports, as it was not mentioned in the trailer, and usually Rockstar does delay PC releases by at least a year for the games.
Lucia, do you know why you're here? Bad luck, I guess.
There was a girl I knew. She said she cared about me. She tried to make my world the way she thought it should be. Yeah, we were desperate then to have each other apart. But love is a long, long road. Yeah, love is a long, long.
Well, look who's back. The only way we're gonna get through this is by sticking together, being a team. Trust?
Trust.
All right, guys, that'll wrap up my 2025 most anticipated games. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my list, or maybe you just have a few tweaks. After all, this list is, entirely subjective and completely personal, and I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but I do want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.